Hi everyone, Linda here, and welcome to this module, Wake Up Your Hamstrings. Having a strong back line of your body really helps you with improving your posture, and your hamstrings is just one part of that. We might be touching on a couple of other parts. So I'm just going to switch my view and come over to the mat and tell you about the props and different ways that you can do this class. I'll see you in a sec. Hi there. You might notice that I have a little bit different view here. I've changed my camera angle a little, and I've changed my mat to be a light color. So hopefully there's a better contrast between what my body's doing and where you can see the mat, you can differentiate. And I've also added a second mat so that I have a bigger area for demonstrating. It's certainly not something you need to do. So our props for today, we have a resistance band. You could use any kind of stretchy thing that you have around if you don't have one of these. 2 blocks. And if you don't have yoga blocks, you could use a couple of sturdy books, even shoe boxes or something like that. I've got a large towel and I've got a chair. So you could do this whole practice without getting down onto the mat if you wanted to. I'm going to be starting out lying on the mat, but if you would rather do this part sitting in a chair, that'll work out just fine. So I'm going to move my chair off the mat and come down to lie on my back. And if you're using the chair, you can just sit down, and you're going to need your band as well. So just start out lying on your back with your knees bent, feet comfortable, and pick up your right foot and wrap the band around the ball of your foot. And then holding on to both ends of the band, give your foot some circles. And you can make these circles whatever size you like. We're just getting a little bit of warm up now. And then circle a few times the other way. And you might shorten up the grip on your band as you start to bend that knee. Still keeping the sole of your foot pointing up towards the ceiling. Bring that knee in close. And then straighten that leg out. Straighten your other leg out along the mat or on the floor if you're sitting on the chair. And cross your top leg that's in the band over your other foot. Stretching that leg out. Stretching both your legs out, actually. And then bring this leg back in. You might even see if you can pull it in a little further. Just feeling your back edges of that leg. And then stretch it out again. And you could tie this into your breath if you want to. Stretching it out on an inhale, bringing it in close on an exhale. And do this 2 more times, just at your own pace. You could dig your bottom heel in just to make your low back more comfortable, and maybe round your glutes down towards the back of your knees to keep your low back feeling good. And then switch that strap over, bringing your left foot up and lowering your right foot down. start out again with a loose grip on the band, circling around. A few times in each direction. And then start to bend that knee, shortening up your grip. Bringing this knee in close. So pointing the sole of your foot up. Then you may stretch out your other leg with your heel down. Stretch out your top leg and crisscross it over top. Stretching them both out. And then bring this back in. And do this 3 more times, counting this one on your own time. Really feeling like your legs, especially your hamstrings, are just starting to get warmed up. The last one here. Maybe you can stretch your top heel a little bit further. Stretch both sets of toes out. And then just come back onto your back. Move your strap out of the way, or band, I should say. And let yourself rock a bit side to side. You may swish your knees side to side a few times. And then just roll over onto one side. And you might just rest here for a couple of breaths. Maybe put your head on top of your arm to rest. And then we'll make our way over to facing down towards the mat, using our feet to come up into a downward facing dog. So you could come into a table position first if you're okay with kneeling. But if you're not, then just go from your feet up to a downward facing dog. And you could always cushion your knees with your towel as well. Lift up and spend a few minutes. Press your hands into the mat, gripping your fingertips, pull your arms together. Send your hips up and back. And stretch out one heel with the other leg bent. And then alternate back and forth. Feeling that back edge of your legs a few times. And then you might firm up your abdomen. Keep the back of your body really strong as you float forward into a plank. You could have knees down as well for this. Or you could be doing it leaning on your chair seat. And let's do about 3 or 4 floats. And then when you are done, walk your feet and hands towards each other, coming into a forward fold. And slowly rolling up into a sun breath. Well, let's take one or two of these here. Now, if you haven't had your chair on your mat up to this point, bring it on now, setting it down at one end, standing in front. Oh, I'm just going to move this over a little. Standing in front. Inhale, your arms up, reach up, and then a hinge at the hips, bringing your hands down onto the chair seat and bringing your right leg back, taking time to make sure that you're set up in a comfortable lunge position. Raise and lower your heel a few times. Noticing this calf stretch, and you might hold it down and then bring it back up. See if you can bring your right hand up onto your hip, and you might leave it here as you turn your torso and your head to look over to the right, and maybe just stay like this. Or you might lift up your top arm, stacking it above your bottom arm. Make sure that your front leg, your knee is right over your ankle, not in front of it. And pull your feet towards each other, like you're dragging your heel back towards your back foot, and you're dragging your back foot forward, but without moving them. And feel the engagement all along your legs. Holding this, maybe you can do one big circle in each direction. And maybe let your eyes gaze towards your hand as you do this. And then bring it back onto the chair. Bounce into your back leg and step forward. And switch over to the other side, left leg back. Stretch that heel back, lift it up a few times. It's always good to have a bit of a bend in the back leg so that you can adjust your pelvis the way that you want to. Now lift that heel up high, pull your legs together, bring your hand up onto your left hip, and turn to look to the left. Maybe stick that, lift that hand up, stacking it above your bottom hand. Keep pulling those legs. As maybe you circle this hand around, or you can keep it on your hip. And then bring your hand back down onto the chair. Bounce into your back leg, step forward, and inhale your way up. Taking one or two sun breaths. Now let's find your blocks. And get your feet into a comfortable squat position. Just going to adjust my camera here because I can see that the top of my head's getting cut off. And you don't need to see this floor part in front of me necessarily. So, okay, here we go. So getting into your squat, and you could do this with the chair seat behind you, or you could do it with the blocks in front of you, or you could try one or the other. Now, as you stand in your squat position, I like to have my feet turned out a lot. Some people just a little, some people have their feet straight. Try and drag your right foot back like you're scraping gum off your shoe. and then your left foot, and try and hold that engagement along the back of your legs. It's really powerful. And then try coming down into a squat, maybe to touch the chair seat, maybe just to go partway down. Or you might try going down into a deeper squat. And here you could have the towel rolled up under your heels. And you might come down to touch your blocks. Well, let me just grab this towel. If you'd like to try that deeper one, you could just roll this up, a little bit of a roll right behind your heels. Keep pulling those legs back. And then maybe while you're here, you could do a little bit of a twist to the left and the right, coming back to hang out. Maybe come back up. Whoa, give those a little shake. Drag those feet back again, engaging those muscles. And then whatever version you're doing, whether it's like this, down to the chair seat, a little bit lower, or coming down into a deep squat, just take some time to experiment with that. Hold on. Keep that squat. Take a few more breaths. And then come back up and take a little bit of a wiggle. Ooh. Shake out your legs when you're done. Keep your blocks there, and you might move your towel and your chair out of the way. Although we're going to do another lunge. You could lunge down to the chair seat if you think that's enough for you. I'm going to demo it with the blocks. Standing with the blocks just in front of my feet on their highest height, standing in mountain just in front of them. Forward fold down to touch the blocks with your fingertips. Step your left leg back. Come up, maybe with your hands on your hips. And do a few dips with both knees bent. Now come up a little bit higher. And do a bicep curl, imagining that you're holding some weights. And slowly curl your way up into a bicep curl. Now notice all this tension in your arms and that there's kind of a connection between your hands and your shoulders that you're coming up to. Now you want to have that same tension in your back leg, as if you're bringing your bum closer to your back of your ankle. Whoa, that's heavy. Just do a few more dips. Also pulling your front leg back like we did before, so your legs are really engaged. And you might just let your arms float free, floating up and down. And you might like to float your hands up as your knees go down. Just hold this for another breath or two. And then fold forward back to your blocks. Step that back leg forward. Great work. All right, step back with this one. Walk your fingertips up onto your thigh, up to your waist. Remember that bicep curl. Engage the back of that leg as if you're pulling your bum down towards your back heel. Pull your front leg back. Start to do some knee dips. And you can keep your hands here or float your arms up and down. Take another few breaths here. Exhaling down, inhaling up if you'd like to tie them together. And then forward fold back down to your blocks. Step your back leg forward. Whoa, that is a little bit intense. Now let's find our bands. That can really work to strengthen and tone your hamstrings. Okay, move one of your blocks out of the way and have the other block right in the middle of your mat. Standing so that your feet are wide. This will also work on our upper back and shoulders. The back line there is really important too. So bring your strap at least shoulder distance apart. Pull on it so it's a little bit taut. Firm up your abs and your glutes so that they are staying really strong. Inhale the strap up. Exhale it down the back. Inhale up, exhale down. Keeping your torso taut. Let's just do one more of these. And then bring the strap behind you. And see, with your palms facing back away from you, lift up your arms. Notice that doing it this way, your range of motion is kind of limited as you squeeze back your shoulders and into your back. And now take an inhale. And as you exhale, hinge at the hip, coming down into a flat back, keeping your arms up. Let your weight settle into your heels. And keeping your back long, slowly lower your head and shoulders down towards the block, lifting your arms up higher, feeling a stretch along the back of your legs. And then press into your feet, start to bend your knees. Keep your arms extended as you lift all the way up. Inhaling as you go. Now you can reach higher with your arms, and you could just try keeping your arms there when you let the band go. Oh, give that all a nice shake. That is great. Now to finish off, you could go back to leaning on the chair or go back down onto the mat. I'm going to show you coming onto the chair. If you're coming onto the mat, you might want to have your towel under your knees. Whichever way you do it, come back into a downward facing dog. You could also have blocks under your hands to do this. Press back, pull your arms, press your palms into the chair or mat, pull your arms together, press your hips back, stretch out your back. On your inhale, lift your navel up away from the floor. As you exhale, stretch your heels down, stretching out your legs. And just spend a few moments doing this. And then if you're using the chair for a child's pose, you might like to increase the height by using one or two blocks, maybe with your towel on top. If you're on the mat, you might have your towel under your knees for cushioning. Either way, round into your back, bring your head down to rest. And it can be resting on your fists or one set of one fist or a block or right down on the mat, rounded back, bent knees. Rest here for 2 or 3 breaths. And then come back up either to standing or sitting, depending where you are. This is the end of our practice today. I hope that felt great. My legs sure feel energized. Have a wonderful day. See you again soon. Bye now.